All information shared in this video is our educated opinion, formulated from research, judgment, analysis, education, and personal life experience. Any material used from the public domain follows fair use guidelines and applicable laws. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. This content is for education and entertainment. We encourage others to conduct proper research and, if needed, consult an attorney for legal advice regarding music licensing.
You could talk about Birds of Prey there with Kathy Yan.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. So, I mean, it was a while ago, but Birds of Prey had a really great representation of Asian Americans, like, in front of the screen and behind the screen, because, you know, obviously I was one of the characters in the cast, but I mean, also Ali Wong, and, like, one of the families in the whole Birds of Prey, like, plot was Asian, and, like, there were a lot of, like, secret little things, and like Harley Quinn's mentor, I'm forgetting all of their names right now, but Harley Quinn's like mentor in the movie is also Asian, and so not only is the cast like so full of, you know, our people, but it was also like behind the camera with the director Kathy Yan, the cinematographer Maddie Libatique, he's Filipino, the writer Christina Hodson, and then like the whole stunt team who actually is doing a lot of like John Wick stuff right now. A lot of them were like Filipino and Chinese, and like it was really cool to kind of see, you know, everyone represented in such a really great way. And I know it was a lot of women too, which was really great. Like a lot of the head of the grip team was a woman, and like cool. You know, all of these things that were really kind of cool and fun to see, and sort of refreshing too, you know, like you don't always see it happen, and a lot of the sets, like it's normally like a white man, so it was kind of fun and cool to see myself represented like in my boss and my mentors and all of that. So
she had an Asian female director in Kathy Yan, and then when I did Obi-Wan Kenobi, I had Deborah Chow, also an Asian woman director, and that was awesome. And when I arrived on set, because I had spent so much time with everyone on Birds of Prey, over the walkie-talkies they kept saying, Cassandra Cain's dad's here, Cassandra Cain's dad's here. So the director came up to me, she's like, what's going on here? And I was like, oh, my daughter's an actress, and we had just come from, you know, Birds of Prey. And a lot of the stunt team, like Jojo Eusebio, who was the stunt director on her film, was also on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was also second unit director. So I worked with him a lot. And so a lot of the camera crew was from Maddie Libatique's camera crew, and he had a conflict, but his camera crew came. So, I mean,
everyone knew everyone. Yeah.
There's
really
beginning to be a lot more Asian Americans behind the scenes, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, no, and ditto, correct. I think correct. You also starred in, what was it, Lumpia with a Vengeance?
Yes, I did, with Patricio, and that came about because Patricio also worked on The Debut, which was kind of like one of the earlier first Filipino films in 2001. So it's like, it's funny. It's like, you know, there was only a small handful of us, like even with us working with Casey, but that circle keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I like what you said about, you know, you have to go out and you have to meet people, because now I'm realizing that as I'm meeting people at different places, and film festivals, but even like my friend's baby shower, and just being nice to people and saying, oh, what do you do? And just talking. And then it's Wendy, and she's a music supervisor. And then I'm like, oh, let me send you my daughter's music. Let me hook you up with a sync agent. And then you and Wendy get to hook up again. And it's like, it's all about connecting the dots, like Casey says, you know, and connecting everyone, and just being a good person, and just
being nice in the industry,
being nice, but also working hard and having product, something that you can show. You know what I mean? Not just like, I'm gonna go out all the time and not do any work.
Right. No, absolutely. And that's why you know, I think, you know, the work that your sister did with LA Get Down, and I know it's going all month long for the month of April, but, you know, just connecting the dots and seeing everyone in the room. And but throughout the year, outside of AAPI, are there events, whether it's film or music, what other things that you might be able to rub elbows within the AAPI community, film or music? Or is it just everyone kind of keeps their head down, work, and they come out in May? Or are there other things that we should know about?
Character Media has a big gala that we go to, and a lot of
Gold House.
AAPI. Gold House just had their big
Yeah.
gala.
But I mean, even just then, like we were just in Oregon for my short film, for the Disorient Film Festival, and like even there, you see a lot of, I mean, it's Asian American specific, but you know, we saw these like really cool taiko drum players, and we just, you know, went to all of the events that we possibly could, because that event or that whole film festival, we were just so involved, and I think it's the most involved we've ever been in any film festival. And then we ended up making so many friends. We ended up, you know, having so many connections with so many people, to the point where now like we're gonna, you know,
Nice.
start planning and collaborating on all of that too. So there's different spaces, and like
Yeah.
there was that. There was also the writers camp with ASCAP, which was very Filipino specific, and they had like this camp where we got to go to the studio, and you know, where I got to work with like all of these different Filipino producers and writers and singers, and so now I'm collaborating with some of them in new music, and like, you know, getting to meet new people and constantly like socialize and keep going with all of that really helps, and it makes you feel like you have like a community too, you know. So
Yeah, Brian Reyes, who Casey introduced us to over at ASCAP, I think you should have him on, because he does it. He does it a couple of times a year. Like in May, they're going to do it again, where they get AAPI artists and producers and writers and top line writers, and they put them all together, and they just you know, and it's great because a lot of times you don't get to meet all these cats. You don't know who these people are that are behind these hits and whatnot. And you can't put a face to it. And then when you meet someone, you go, oh, you know. And then later on, sometimes after meeting them, you're like, oh, you worked on that track, you know. It's a great way to see that we are coming up in the industry and making those connections, like you said.
Yeah, no, and I think that's, you know, the year goes so quick, and what helps me, like you guys said, is so important, is putting it on our calendar. So every year, you know, these events are happening, pre-planned 6 months out, get everybody together. And I think, Casey, that's a good segue. You can talk to, correct, you just did for coming up, you know, for this month, AAPI, you participated in a workshop.
Yeah, I'm still doing it actually. It's believe it was through Score a Score. You know, it's like a sync kind of like writing camp kind of thing, and yeah, it's like a couple of AAPI, you know, Asian artist, Asian songwriter, Asian producer. You know, I mean, I didn't really know what the fuck AAPI was like growing like years ago. Like seriously, it was just only until like the last like maybe like decade or so like I was aware of it, you know, and really just the sense of trying to really build that community, because we are out here doing a lot of the work. You know, a lot of people may not know, you know, but I guess now it's being kind of pushed more to the forefront. But anyways, yeah, I'm doing a like a sync writing camp, you know, with these two young ladies, and yeah, it's pretty cool. We basically got like a brief, and we had to like choose like a song and direction that we want to go in. So like we're working on that. We're still working on it, you know, so that'll probably be revealed sometime next month.
Very cool. Nice,
You know,
nice.
hopefully I answered the question, man. I'm like,
No, you did. And I mean, do they keep it open ended? Or they say, you know, write a K-pop song or write a, you know, or is it just?
oh, there was direction, you know, for this particular you know, for these two particular briefs, there was definitely direction. You know, it was either, you know, A or B, you know. So, you know, I met with the songwriter and the artist. I'm like, okay, knowing collectively, because you know, I looked at some of your work, knowing collectively, I think we would best be strongest to do A, you know, and we all agreed on that. It's like, all right, cool, you know. It was a cool session. We did it via Zoom. You know, I thought we were going to be like in a studio together. You know, one songwriter, she's in Austin. the others in LA, and it was really cool. Like, had my laptop on, we had the Zoom, they're like doing their thing, I'm doing my thing, and bouncing ideas off of each other. So we have to turn in a demo, and then submit the demo. Someone will listen to the demo. If they have any feedback, they'll get back to us, and then we have to turn in a finished product in like 2 weeks or so, or like a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, the wonders of technology post-pandemic, because I think that's something which is good. Similarly, Casey and LJ, as you guys continue to work together on tracks, where this is a conversation I had with like a label A&R guy who was saying being able to be in the room early in the creative process just to give guidance. So same from my perspective as a sync agent, if you guys are working on a demo and you're like, hey, Charles, here's the early stage of this. Any tweaks, then I can lend my ear on the sync side. Because as you know, Casey, very specifics, we talked about, here's one nugget to share is, if the lyrics, if someone sings a song about the day versus the night, and if that reference is so specific,
Right,
then
it doesn't.
it limits 50-50. The scene has
Right.
to be in the day or in the night. So, but that's a conversation for another
For
time.
another time, yeah. Because you always, I'm sorry, I was gonna piggyback off of that,
Sure.
but we'll save that for another time. If you want. I mean, basically, it's the thing. You always hear a lot of people, they try to write music for syncs. They try to write music for like brief. Just write music, period. I mean, you even touched on that in like one of your last episodes. It's like, just write music, be broad with your songwriting, but don't target like, I'm going to make a love song specifically about this, because it's like, it's all variables. It's all subjective.
Right.
There's so many different aspects of something. You can have someone can like your song, think it's final, but then someone else comes along like, no, this works better. Your song doesn't make the cut. You can't think that your song wasn't good enough. No, you just need to keep moving. And that's another thing that's really important, especially in this industry. You have to be really headstrong with that, because you're faced with rejection like all the time. I mean, even on your end, you can submit like a pack of songs for something, but you're not the only company doing so. All you can do is just put your best foot forward.
Right.
If it's there, people take notice. All right, this may not work now. Let me put it to the side. I know these folks. I'm cool with them. I like them. If something comes up, oh yeah, I remember I have that.
Exactly. Repetition, like you said, we build that thick skin, the armor, and it's
it's tough
to not take it personal. Like, hey, there's a surplus of content, music, and there's a limited number of spaces out there for any gig. So I think that's a good segue. Advice, LJ and Derek, whoever wants to take this, is as far as navigating the entertainment or music space today. If you don't have a mentor, this is when we rephrase the question. As far as mentorship programs, Derek, for the future next generations of AAPI community in the entertainment and music space, are there organizations out there, or what do you see out in the space?
There are organizations like Gold House. It was just on the tip of my tongue. Cape, Character Media, Tremendous, and they and like even Brian at ASCAP hooking up, the writers and producers with these artists, and some are new artists and some are established artists. You know what I mean? For me, I think the big thing is finding your voice, where you fit in, whether it's like as an actor, like what roles you can play, or if it's music, what are you saying with your music, finding your voice, and really honing your craft, and talking to people. One of the biggest advices we got from someone was talk to everyone. You know what I mean? So when she was doing Birds of Prey, we went to every department. We went
Yeah.
to the playback guy. We talked to
Mm.
him. We talked to the sound guys. Show me your stuff. What are you doing? You know what I mean? We
It's good
talked,
to know everyone. Yeah.
getting to know everyone, and you know, being interested in other people and what they do. Um, I mean, because we just were for art, but it really
It
endears them to
reciprocates.
you, and it reciprocates, and you know, it may not be right for something right now, but you know, if your name comes up later on, they go, "Oh yeah, I met them, I talked to them," you know, and it just creates goodwill all around.
Yeah.
But hard work
Social
Mhm.
networking.
and finding out
Mhm.
what your voice is really for me. How about you?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, I'm mentors, I'm constantly surrounded by them, you know, like again, my whole family, we're all actors, so growing up, you know, we were always, you know, filming auditions and stuff, but regardless of that, you know, through connections of my, you know, of my uncle and other people, like I got to meet, you know, some of my most significant mentors, Andrea A. Walter and Bianca Katbegan, who both of them have directed so many music videos of mine, and they've mentored us through the short film I made, Fox Eyes. So they're like a really key part in my career so far, and for my younger sister too, because she's also a director and actor.
Mhm.
But yeah, so
Leslie
Alejandro as well. Yeah, she's
Marie
been
Chamorro.
Marie Hamora. Yeah. So we've, you know, we've been able to find our group, and I think that's really important too. Just
Mm.
finding your people, because especially as, you know, especially as Asian Americans in this sort of white dominating space, it's really important that we do find our people and find the people that we connect with and that we can work with, because our team, if we ever want to do something or produce something, I know I can reach out to so many people to sort of help us access that. And our team also includes Casey too, because you know, we've been collaborating on the past couple of songs, and it's been really good. And you know, what I love about Casey is that he's always very collaborative and very supportive of like all the decisions that I make. And you know, he was in our music video for Bubble Tea. So yeah, just finding your people and finding your voice within that is super
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, and you heard one of the new songs that's not released yet that they're working on.
Oh
Fake,
yeah, the one that we played.
at the LA Get Down. Fake. Yeah.
Live. Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's a great, actually, the through line, you know, and I like what you said, Ella, about, you know, within your family, you know, growing up around music, acting, entertainment field, and you yourself, you know, you're a role model and mentor to your siblings who Deuce on percussion and drums, right? And then Emerson on bass guitar, the Sibs. And yeah, and seeing you guys the other night, I mean, you know, as Derek, we had this conversation early on way back, is, and I've been in the biz for a minute on the music side, and it's sort of, you know, cutting your teeth playing live, and it's, you guys, it shows the cohesion now, you guys, the groove. And Casey, we're you know, at the LA Get Down, so yeah, you have a lot to be proud about on those tracks. And looking forward to hearing so correct, there's a new track and it'll be released at sometime this year.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
we're working on new music for sure, and one of the songs was performed at LA Get Down, and it's funny because like that was like the most impactful song out of the three, just because of the language of the song and what it was about. But there were so many people coming up to us being like, "When's that song coming out? When's that song coming out?" Or they were like, "Can I find it on Spotify?" I was like, "No, it's unreleased, but we're gonna send it out soon." Because we also performed it at Hotel Cafe, so we've been kind of sneaking it here and there before we release it officially. But yeah, it's been exciting. I'm excited about it.
Nice. So then Casey knows this, but the good sync nugget of replacing the expletives with a word for airplay, so we don't have to bleep it out.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny. I laugh because I had an artist who had a song, and I think every word was, or in the chorus was an F bomb. So I told her replace it, and
Yeah.
she's like, this is my art, this is my creativity. But I said, hey, for airing on television, you
That
know.
ain't gonna happen.
So, but no, love the track, And then, yeah, so I think, as we back to that question of turning it back to you, Casey, going forward in the space, because the other day I had a composer as well who works on trailers, and he's a mom and pop, and he was telling me, the competition within scoring and composition, it's immense. I mean, he's competing with guys who they mastered their tracks at Abbey Road, and he's like, some days it messes with his head. So, let alone within the AAPI community, how do you keep your focus? So I would imagine, right, part one, and like you said, is your clients you're already delivering for, super serve and deliver the goods.
Yeah, the best you can.
Mhm.
I mean, lately, I mean, as you know, like for like the past decade or so, my focus has been like working on music for like movie trailers, and that's like a whole different level of like production music. I mean, that's like
Mm.
fucking like NBA Kobe Bryant level, like no joke.
Yeah.
Like it's a whole different ball of wax, with that. And the competition, as you were saying, it's incredible.
Mhm.
It really is. Um, what was your question again? I'm sorry. Like,
No, yeah. I mean, as far as
just
being able to, not only being within the AI community, but just the competition itself is immense, irrespective of race, and it's just what you do, your gig.
yeah,
Um,
that
mhm.
that, and there's not like a lot of us, people who look like myself, like you guys, doing it. Like I said a thing for ASCAP, last year where, people when they see like an Asian in music, they automatically assume you do like classical music or some shit
Mm.
like that. But like no, we write beats, we write alternative music, we do all kinds of stuff, and it's just like now it's being more broad and recognized, just beyond that. But I don't know where that's going, but
No, I get
it,
you.
it's a thing. We're out here doing more than what you think that we can do. Just give us the opportunities, you
Yes.
know,
No. Well said.
and the more of us that can represent who are doing it to try to build that community, a coalition per se of like, hey, here's like a crew of people who
Mhm.
can
Mhm.
do the work that may not necessarily have the opportunity because they don't have the connections, and
Right. Or
a
the
lot of that.
mentors. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or the
Or the
mentors.
mentors,
Yeah.
because a lot of that goes deep. It's
Yes.
relationships that are like years and years. And it's like if
Mhm.
you're really just coming into this,
Mhm.
you really need to have some people that, some trusted sources, and just build with it because it's sort of, I don't want to say like the AAPI community and entertainment is definitely more visible now, to
Mhm.
like other people who may not be aware. And it's just
Mhm.
one of those things where it's really going to keep growing,
Mm.
just in general, just like globally, just like there's a whole lot of things, but it's there, and it's just a matter of just more people
Mhm.
supporting, you know, and it's just awareness.
Yeah. To bookend, because with IG, we can see the key thing is we see it on social media, but getting out and being active in the community, going to events, what everybody said, and then to bookend, Derek, what you said earlier
It's
about
tough.
yeah, finding your voice. What came to my mind, I heard it was an interview with Joe Coy talking about his challenges as a comedian, and if I'm not mistaken, he was saying how he pitched some of his early stand-up to Netflix, and they're like, he got rejected. So, not taking that rejection and continuing the path. And then his most recent films, he got a call from Spielberg, and was like, hey, let's do this film. So then, Derek, just to thread it back to you guys, on, you know, I saw a piece that, the showrunner for, they redid Kung Fu on the CW. You have more roles on TV, film. So competition wise, does that impact your strategy? Because I'm sure you're growing up, there's the new generation of AAPI and then those in your fellow class, so to speak, that you've worked with. So then it just comes down to, know your craft, know your contacts, or how do you navigate that?
I think, like I said, knowing your lane or what your voice is, because when you know that, like, then you're gonna audition for everything that you do your way. You know what I mean? So you're just gonna do it as good as you're gonna do it. And sometimes you get recognized and they like your take, and sometimes they like someone else's take. And the thing about, with this industry, you can make something really good, music or acting, whatever, but it just doesn't fit in whatever they're creating at that time, so you have to have that perfect fit. So there's a little bit of luck, but you got to be prepared, and you got to have hard work in there. You know what I mean? Be ready for it. Be prepared for the opportunities.
Yeah, no, timing, luck, a lot of planetary alignment sometimes, I'll call it. But no, I think we covered the gamut of the topics, and very insightful, and looking forward to, one last thing. I think what's important with technology, being able to jump on Zooms, because like you said, if you go to an event, you meet someone, you shake their hand, you get their card, and then you forget about the Rolodex. There's no, the follow through is critical, and re-picking up, meeting with someone, working on something, and saying, hey, let's set a goal, let's produce some tracks, let's work on a film together within the community, and then 6 months, a year, we have something to put forward. And that's why I'm excited to bringing everyone together here tonight. So any closing words or advice? But I think we pretty much covered all the bases. Anybody want to parting words?
Thank you so much for having us, Charles. Happy AAPI month, May. And thank you so much for having us, and it's really a pleasure to be here. You can check me out on all socials everywhere, Jay Basco. But thank you.
And
we'll be
I hope that people are inspired by all of us here, and they choose to be brave and follow their dream, and we welcome the competition. The more of us out there that are auditioning for the same roles, that means that we've arrived. You know what I mean?
Right.
The more we
shaking
demand
things
that.
up.
Exactly. So keep coming. We're not threatened by it. We welcome everyone.
Yeah. Word. Thank you, Charles. This was cool.
Yeah, no. Thank you, guys. We'll have to make this happen every year, and just to close it out.
Not
Derek.
every year, man. Every month, every day. Fuck that.
Every month, let's do it. Every month.
That's the thing. It's like AAPI
Yes.
doesn't have to be like a month. No, it's just like, no, we out here like, all right, cool, be a little bit of a spotlight, but you just keep building, you just keep pushing it, and build your own thing, and people will take notice. And it's not even about that, people taking notice. It's just about doing for like our community. I have to embrace it. But thank you, Charles.
No, thank you, Casey. Thank you, Derek and LJ, and thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you on the other side. And with that, have a great rest of your week and AAPI month. Thank you so much, guys. Catch you on the next one.
Right on. Peace. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you.
Go.